Hello everyone. I am Soumyadeep Datta. I am a Y15 dual degree electrical engineering student. So I interned in my third year summers at NYU Tandon School of Engineering. It was a research intern, and I also went to UCSD in my fourth year summers also for a research internship, both in the field of wireless communications broadly, electrical engineering core, obviously. I'll also talk a bit about the intern I did not go to, which is I landed an SPO internship for my third year summers at Texas Instruments, Bangalore, and I didn't go to that. I went to NYU instead. So yeah, and that's basically the background. To start with preparation strategies, so I of course hadn't prepared much. I was really confused what to do in the internship season. I had already taken. I am of course from electrical engineering department, but I had taken a double major in chemistry because I was really interested in the discipline. And in my second year summers, I was doing a research internship in chemistry. Uh, so coming from that background, I really and that wasn't that knowledgeable and experienced. So I wanted to try out electrical core in my internship. So that I set my mind on it before, like in the placements. Of course, I could choose any other direction I wanted to. I could go for software, I could go for finance, but I wanted to try electrical core once before choosing to not do it. So that was the way I chose it. Now, preparation strategies, I just studied the basic electrical courses, which is majorly EE 210 and ESC 201. And of course, I also read a little bit of EE 250. I couldn't go through EE 200 also is useful if you have the time. So as far as so these are the courses basically you have to study, and external resources not much required. So Texas Instruments provides particularly a handbook from which you can just see the basic topics which they need you to know. And our institute courses more or less, at least the second year courses, more or less cover that. So I don't think much of external material will be required, at least for electrical core. I hadn't prepared for non-core much. I had sat for two companies, which is ITC and Texas Instruments, and I got selected in Texas Instruments. GD was there in ITC, but not in TI. I'll come to GD later. So that's pretty much it. I didn't prepare much for GD. I had some sort of confidence, and in some mock GD sessions conducted by SPO, I did decently enough. So I took the feedbacks from the moderators, and and then we practiced a little bit in the wing, but not much really. And that I of course wasn't too serious on this. Like I was prepared in my mind, somewhere in my mind, to go for a research internship as well. So I wasn't serious for the SPO part. Now coming to research internships. So first thing you should try. I mean, if you see, and I, in my third year summers, I hadn't applied to research internship programs, but in my fourth year summer, I did. So you have the usual programs like MyTax, SNBOS, DAD, and all of them have their own portals and and criteria of selection and application processes clearly outlined in all of their websites. So apart from programs, of course, you can shoot individual emails to professors of various institutes. And again, so regarding that, it's always a general tip is, if you're emailing a professor, of course, go through that person's Google Scholar or other profiles, at least the website, and get an idea. Like first of all, you need to figure out your own interests, like in the broad areas you would want to do a research internship in. And then of course go through the professor's profile, find out the projects which the professor is engaged in, and see what suits you. And say, like if possible, definitely read the abstracts of the most recent works and see if your interests align with the professor. If they do not align, then you shouldn't send an email, right? If they align, send an email, and send a very personalized email. Do not mass mail or anything. The time is less, so I won't elaborate much on that. We can talk offline if needed. So other questions, I'll just check them. Electrical code visiting companies, you will have Texas Instruments as among the first companies. Then you will have, so Texas Instruments is in the semiconductors field. You will have Samsung, Qualcomm, which will recruit for more signal processing, communication, and slightly computer science oriented roles as well. Then you can, apart from that, you will have, I mean, it's kind of unpredictable. Because these three are quite big recruiters in terms of number of students they take from electrical. So you have a fair chance of getting into either of them. Apart from these three, you can of course apply by yourself, or some other companies might come in. That depends from year to year. Photonics, I am not very sure, but of course, these electronics companies, Intel for some reason doesn't come for internships, but I've heard Intel has a photonics team as well. So again, that needs to be looked into. I do not know anyone in particular, but of course you can contact current employees in these organizations, and they'll be able to give the best idea. Yeah, this regarding semiconductor industry, you do not need to worry about having a project on semiconductors, because I didn't have any, and I got through. So you just need to have sound knowledge of your coursework, and that should sail you through the interview process. So that's pretty much it. You don't really have to worry too much about that. One aspect where IITK students lack is we do not do digital electronics this early. So the digital, you may go through EE 370 lectures of previous years. I have heard that the last year Professor S.S. Kayyar has also covered Verilog. So some Verilog questions also come. If you can prepare that, very good. So and coding questions. Texas Instruments has a software profile as well. So, but I also got shortlisted for it, but the questions there were MCQ based and very basic data structures like till midsem and ESC 101 type questions. Nothing to be scared of. But the other companies, that is Qualcomm and Samsung, will have little more like proper coding tests for selection, because their role is as such. So yeah, I mean, that's your call now. You can, it doesn't hurt to prepare a little bit at least. You can just go through some standard questions on Geeks for Geeks. I'm sure the company specific questions are also available. I'm not the best person to answer this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, electrical core again, like there are a lot of topics. Like I do not know if you consider hardware as electrical core, then of course you have your EE 210 and ESC 201. But as far as communications and signal processing is concerned, then you get into EE 200, and communications you won't have studied even. So, and in that case, they'll just check your coding aptitude. And so interview process, there will be technical rounds mostly, and then the direct interview. So technical rounds can include, like Texas Instruments will have a test of like kind of like a course NSEM for electronics, and well, that's for all the different profiles in analog, digital, and software. They'll have separate tests. And as far as Samsung and Qualcomm are concerned, I think they conduct coding tests. And after that, then there is a technical interview followed by an HR interview. There are no GDs in electrical code as such. Apart from that, so yeah, work experience. Uh, so I'll just talk briefly about it. In in both of my research internships, I explored topics in wireless communications. But in the NYU internship in third year summers, I was in an information theory lab, and I was basically trying to incorporate delay into a MIMO receiver and see how that improves the performance. So I'm not getting into technicalities, but it was challenging. I didn't have too much of background, so it took me some time to learn and read research papers and understand what's going on. And I honestly couldn't deliver much, but I learned a lot in the process, and my advisor was helpful enough to consider giving me a recommendation letter for my future PhD applications. And similarly, for my fourth year summers also, so that was a more application oriented internship, so I could do a bit more. I did deliver. I did manage to help the team complete a demo for the 5G forum there. So that was more of application oriented network, like 5G networks kind of thing. So but yeah, so in that instance, and then I began a project of my own, but there I got stuck in between, and like since the time is less, I couldn't really do much. But again, but the advisor was happy with my progress and agreed to refer me for PhDs later. So that's pretty much it. And the future prospects, of course, well, 5G is already here in the market, then you'll have 6G, and there'll be endless prospects in the field. So that's not a worry. Bye.